¿Sabías que there is a difference between your real age and your biological age? Yes, girl. So your biological age refers to the damage, the accumulation of damage that you have enacted on your body. O sea, it's the molecular structures y básicamente te jodiste. That's what a biological age is. And you would ask yourself, what determines a biological age? Pues, amiga, el vicio. El vicio, ya sean los hombres, las drogas, el alcohol, or smoking. But usually it's about the habits, the health habits that we accumulate over time. So, is your real age and your biological age the same, or are you older biologically than you think you are? Guilty.
Porque tomaste demasiadas chelas. Buenos días y buenas tardes, paletitas. Bienvenidos a otro episodio. Para los nuevos, yo soy la mera mera Ana Sheila.
Y yo, César Camacho.
Ahora que la mera mera me encantó. Y yo soy José Richard Áviles, alias la Nalgona.
Y juntas somos
las paleteras.
Ok, paletitas. One word, ¿cómo se sienten?
I feel grateful.
And you can expand on the word.
No, I just really love that you started with la mera mera. I was like, oh shit, dope.
Se escucha bien, ¿no?
No,
La mera mera de Sheila.
No, I loved it.
La mera
like,
mera.
Hey.
I loved it. That was beautiful, friend. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling grateful. I'm grateful to be here with you guys again. Yeah, we have a great team, so I'm super grateful. That's like the first thing that came.
Oh, qué cute. So tender. Hey. Okay.
We know how you feel.
Paletitas,
para los que no la pueden ver.
Neta cruda. Para los que no saben, yo llegué al estudio y estaba peda, mías. Yo no me había peinado, no me había bañado, güey.
No te habías despertado.
Llegó tarde, no se levantaba. Fuimos a buscarla. Casi mandamos un Amber Alert para buscar la missing Jota.
Las productoras estaban preocupadas, neta. Me mandaron un mensaje, like, I don't know, like, we hope they're okay.
Are they fine? Me llamaron en el hotel, güey. Y yo, bueno, your coworker, Eli is here for you. I'm like, who the fuck is that? I don't know them. Tell him to find. I'll call him later. And then I look at my phone, all the missed calls. It was a mess. Sorry. Pero aquí estamos.
Pero aquí estamos. Y es lo más importante.
Cruda.
Cruda pero presente.
A huevo. Me encantó.
Y'all, okay. So, me lastimé el pie. Ya saben que me lastimé el pie.
We have footage. Play the footage.
Hemos estado grabando como diferentes cosas and like it's just been a little bit embarrassing. I'm trying to act like I'm normal, pero
así, no, es que, oh my God.
So you feel hurt?
Pero anyways, I feel hurt. No. I mean, no, pero me lastimé el pie jugando. I was playing tennis with my brother and I hurt my foot and I was like, yeah, I think I'm wearing the wrong shoes. Like, I think, like I needed new shoes. I've had these for way too long. And my brother was like, no, yo creo que like you just really needed to stretch. Like you need to start stretching. Like you're getting old, homie. And I was like, yo muy defensiva así como que no, like eran los zapatos, güey. Pero
no soy yo.
No soy yo. Pero really, when I was thinking about it, I was like, no, pero for real, like, like I can't just be like getting up like I used to, like I can't just like go work out. Like I can't, like I do, ya soy una de edad where like, yes, like I'm healthy y todo, pero I do have to put a little more intention into like how I prepare for things, so I made some changes to my habits, but I was like, okay, like neta, I do need to make some changes to how I approach different things. And so today we're going to talk about something that, can be a little bit scary. And unfortunately our society makes it feel a little bit scary, right? Like the patriarchy and all these other systems like really make us feel some type of way about aging. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. O sea, haciéndonos viejes.
I'm like,
el colágeno.
Entonces, I want to open it.
Bebé, si usted quiere donar algo a la causa aquí, el colágeno, bebé.
¿Por qué creen que me voy a México tanto? No,
¡Ay, girl!
Anyway.
Porque el colágeno auténtico, bebé.
Entonces, pues les quiero empezar. I want to start like right into it. Like, what are you most scared about when it comes to like aging? And what also brings you like happiness? So let's keep that, un poquito de balance.
Should we stretch before we start?
I know, right? I know, ya me estoy encomiendo.
La rodilla como que me
I
rechina
know,
ya.
right? Like,
Pues ustedes no saben ahí en casita, pero yo ayer me caí y me di en la cola. O sea, literalmente, like talking about aging.
Yeah.
My first reaction and fear in that moment was
Yeah.
I broke my tailbone.
yeah.
And I didn't, but I was like that fear of literally for a second, I was like, fuck, what do I do now? What is this process like? I gotta go to the hospital. Just
Yeah.
like your mind runs through things. But I think in that regard, and funny, if y'all remember in Casita, we had an episode about grief. As someone who like studied dance in undergrad and danced for a good amount of time, I had to grieve the body that was. Because sometimes I feel most of the changes in my body and aging through dance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just because I've known my body for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
at least internally, I've had this somatic intelligence and body awareness and body intelligence that I think I developed because of dance. And so seeing that change and shift has been a grieving process because I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, bitch. Especially when I think about like body image issues that I had. Because I'm like, girl, the things you were doing in undergrad, like in like fucking handstands and shit like that, like, why did you have body image issues? Like, you were doing so great. And so now to come to the realization of like my body, one, it's not disposable, but it is disposable. And at the same time, just feeling a lot of I no longer feel indestructible. And I think my mind and ambitions have always led in that way, but my body is reminding me that I'm not.
Yeah.
So now it's like going to the doctor for quarterly check-ins and just being like, bitch, what's my baseline? Like, give me all the labs, check everything, And like literally I went to the doctor, I'm telling you too much, pero whatever. I went to the doctor last time and they were like, pues no te estás muriendo, amiga. Pero you could be healthier. Y yo, ¿cómo? And they were like, well, your cholesterol's not that high, but it could be lower.
Yeah.
And your sugar's not that high, but it could be lower.
Yeah.
And your blood pressure's not that high, but it could be lower. And I was like, oh my God, give me all the proactive shit. So now I'm like taking all the vitamins, the fish oil, the omega-3s, and it's like...
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll just share, what you said about what does make me happy, the maturity, I think in some ways, like I feel like where I'm at 33, we were having a sidebar earlier today, not the sidebar, sorry. But we were having this conversation about emotions and relationships and Ana Sheila basically asked me if I still got jealous. And I was like, I do. I just think I've learned to not act on it.
Yeah.
Because of the work that I had to go through, the bads, the burning of the bridges that I experienced. So I do appreciate the emotional intelligence and maturity of aging.
That's beautiful.
Because I'm still a kid, but you just, learn how to move as an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Just one quick como add on to what you were saying. I think that you're saying like, you used to, when you were in, whatever age, you used to do handstands y cosas así, and you're like, ugh, why did I have these body image issues? Like it's just so like, you're so proud of what your body, instead of being like proud of what your body could do, ¿verdad? Or celebrating that. And I feel like one of the things that happens like with aging and the way society, like lo que nos inculca, right? Is that like, we're always feeling wishing that we could come back to the past instead of really appreciating like what we can do at every age. Las pasamos así, ay, me gustaría, like I wish, instead of like really celebrating exactly what we can do at that time. And nos las pasamos sufriendo like our whole life instead of really just really enjoying exactly what we can still do. And later we can talk about like, what are some ways that we can kind of combat these ideas around aging. What about you, César?
I feel like for me, after 25, I feel like everything is going by super fast, which kind of scares me. I feel like it went from like...
We're laughing because this is el bebé.
Well, I'm 28 now, but I feel like I moved to LA when I was...
How old?
I'm 28. But I moved to LA when I was 23 and I was like, oh man, I've been here for 5 years. And like, I feel like it just goes by so fast, which kind of scares me. But I'm also grateful for like another year of like growth. And I wouldn't want to go back in time to be like the 21-year-old that I was, or the 23-year-old that I was, or the 25-year-old that I was.
It's because you're still in your 20s.
So I'm like, I know. But I feel like
for us, it's for us. You're like, I know.
But I feel like I lived up my 20s.
Everyone has their experience, right?
But I feel like compared to like, other people in my circle, I feel like my 20s, I'm very impulsive to begin with. So I feel like I've traveled. I like, no me quedo con las ganas de nada. Like I go for what I want. So I feel like I've grown so much that I'm like excited for another year. But then it's like, I have cousins that are like just turning 18 or 20. And I'm like, like they get scared when they're like, you're 28? And I'm like, oh my God, we're 10 years apart. Like I feel like everything's going by so fast.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary because then like our parents are getting older. And like now my conversations with my friends are like, oh yeah, my dad had to get a colonoscopy, or my mom had to do this blood work, or she had to go to the doctor for this. And I'm like, guys, like we're getting older. Our parents are getting older. Like I feel like it's like our conversations are just changing and our mindsets are changing.
Oh, give it 5 years and it's gonna get hella real.
No, which is scary. Like
La neta, it gets fast. It feels faster and faster. And I think the best thing you can do is really live as richly. And you're living a very rich life, César, and I think that's really beautiful.
But the other day too, I went to the gym and I was showering in the gym and I was like doing my shower and I was like, wait, am I 27? And I was like, no, that was last year. And I was like, no, I'm 27. And I was like, wait, no, I'm 28. And I had this like weird mental breakdown. Not mental breakdown, but I was like, am I 29? And then the dates got confused. I was freaking out for like 2 minutes.
When you reach our place, como decimos en español, al tercer piso, cuando llegas al tercer piso, bebé.
Es que ya ni puedes pensar en que estás cumpliendo más, because you kind of just have to like.
It's like a blur.
You gotta just kind of let it go.
Your body reminds you.
Yeah.
It's not even your age. I mean, at this point, it's not a mental game anymore. Once you hit the third floor, el tercer piso, bebé, your body.
2 more years, ahí vamos, porque las crudas, esas sí las sentí. Like, if I go out drinking for a day or two, I need like 3 days to recover.
Oh, they get worse.
Electrolytes, sweat, like todo para recuperarme.
Yeah, la verdad is I really don't drink that much anymore. I know we've been drinking a little bit in commune.
We take our little mezcal.
Pero la verdad es que yo, like, la verdad
y en rato así.
Es que yo no me puedo, like.
Y ahorita la audiencia de que con razón se ve bien happy cuando empieza el episodio.
No, pero neta, la verdad es muy rara que me ponga peda yo at this juncture, because like I would prefer to wake up. I prefer to wake up early. I prefer to like start my morning feeling well. Like and like yo neta nada más con 2 bebidas me siento un poquito like I feel it in the morning. So you really like, actually el mezcal, I feel like I can have more y me siento bien.
No, yo
pero
no
lo demás no. It's probably the mexicano and the yeah.
But like even like skincare, I feel like before I didn't care. Now I'm like,
oh my God, I should be caring. I mean, that's good, because I didn't start caring until I was in my 30s, or like paying attention to it.
Right.
I was just counting on my brown skin. Pero
yeah. Or I mean, I was just gonna share briefly. I was like, similar to you. I don't think I drink as much anymore.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, you just go into.
Pero si me echo una buena peda, una vez al mes.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer, I mean, there is that moment in time where you're like, yeah, bitch, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
Ahora ya no. Ahora it's like once a month and that's it. But even, no. You know what has happened to me? I don't know if this has happened to you mostly.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen, es que aquí somos las señoras.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's happened to you, but do you see people in their 20s and you're like, damn, bitch, if you would have known me back in my days. Or like when people are like, oh my God, you're so fun with. And I'm like, si supieras lo que me metía when I was younger.
Es que neta, sabes que yo siempre nunca fui muy fiestera.
Really?
So like I've never like, like me going out, I've never been like that fiestera.
Not even with your soror girls?
No, I mean, maybe a little bit.
Authoritative. ¿Cómo? That's something?
It's because I imagine that Sheila
was so
in the sorority pose too.
Posing in the pictures like...
Yeah.
With her paddle.
Sorry.
No, that was funny. Pero, no, entonces no así como que no así tanto así, porque I was never that fiestera. Like I was always like, I like to be in bed by 2 a.m. Like that was me having a crazy night.
Oh no, in college, I would go out like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Me levantaba como a las 7 ir a trabajar, como si nada.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah. But you know something that's interesting? Like even though you're in your 20s, like you're technically still a millennial. Like you are a millennial, ¿verdad? I think because I think
I'm 96. Yeah. I'm like on the cusp.
You're like
I'm
and what's interesting is that like although you're like even though you're meaningfully younger, I feel like these kind of generations, like they are really like kind of on, because I feel like with Gen Z people, I do feel like a bigger difference, but I feel like we like with you, there's still like things that we like share in common that I think it like is really, which is interesting.
But you know what's interesting? I mean, you bringing up Gen Z though. I mean, and what you've mentioned about it's time going by so quickly.
Yeah.
I wonder if aging is actually going to like or like the life expectancy is actually going to get shorter, it's smaller.
Yeah.
Because life is going too quickly for Gen Z.
Y neta, it has actually gotten shorter in the last 2 years. And I don't know, I think, no, neta, sí. And I think it might have been influenced by COVID, but also
100%.
like different lifestyle choices that we just don't,
Yeah,
we don't have. Before we had a healthier lifestyle, porque el mundo like supported that, right? We weren't at our computers, right?
Yeah.
People had more jobs where they were moving.
For sure.
People were walking more. People were communing more. And now our communing is happening more like digitally. And that's not contributing.
Back in our day, bebés, we would actually like get our bikes and bike down the block. And
Nos íbamos en burro a la escuela.
No teníamos
we used to play Ding Dong Ditch, bitch.
I still do Ding Dong Ditch.
Oh yeah, you're my sister's age. That's wild.
But it's crazy because I'm like, I feel like I'm in my tío era.
Yeah.
Because like all my little cousins are like, they're like,
cute.
oh, tío César. I'm like, that's cute. But I'm also like, you see me as a tío? Or like, I don't know. It's like,
that's so cute.
But I feel like what you mentioned, like my grandparents are like in their 80s. And I met my great grandparents that were all like died in like their 90s.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't think like I don't know. I feel like, they lived like a different lifestyle. Like they lived in a rancho. They ate like what was around them.
Yeah.
I feel like there wasn't fast food. Like caminaban donde quiera.
Yeah,
like, are we gonna make it that old?
Yeah, my grandparents, like they passed away in their 90s. And like, I don't think they were thinking like, oh, how can I live to be in my 90s? But they lived a life que, you know, they had a lot of kids. So there was like a lot of community. They would walk every morning. They prayed the rosary every morning. So they had some kind of spiritual practice. Like they didn't eat like the most vegetables, but they cooked everything, you know? So like, it's just interesting, not even trying. They just had like a lifestyle that like supported
It was like a little
longer
more active too.
And pero coming back to my own question, for me, I think what is a little bit, you know, like getting hurt is I think just realizing that as you get older, you can be good one day and then, you know, like, y te pasa algo and then you're not, right? And so being like, it's just that embracing the fact that we really have to be so present with our present moment and really being, and I'm trying to like be as fucking grateful as possible because, you know, I came back from a long trip and I was excited to go back into the gym because I hadn't been going to the gym while I was on my trip. Y como que el primer día que voy, that's when I got hurt. Right. And it's like, damn. And it's just like, really like, you have to just be open to that. You can have these plans, especially when it comes to our body. And like, you know, you don't always know what's going to happen. And how do we move through those feelings, right? Like do our best to take care of ourselves, but also like understand like sometimes things are out of our control. And what do we do when that happens, right? And so for me, for example, I was like, okay, ya no puedo hacer lunges, pero I can still do like upper body. What can I still do, right? So that's what I've been, and so that's maybe and then now switching to like lo que me da alegría about aging. I think, so for me, I think it's just continuing to get closer and closer to who I am y continuing to release like el que va a decir la gente, continuing to get to know me even more and that like it's never too late to continue to you know, to be on that journey. And that's been really beautiful.
That's beautiful because you start not giving a fuck after a certain age. And I feel like that's when you like actually start doing the stuff you want to do.
Yeah.
Like you have the courage to go for it too. And like, I don't know. You just don't care.
100%.
Like when you get there, that's the best part.
You know what? Confession. I started going back to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ow.
Ay.
Me dio un calambre. Low-key. Ay, el productor ven suave.
We need the chiropractor.
Sorry,
Chiropractor?
Chiropractor, yeah. No, but low-key, I mean, I started going back. It's hilarious, the timing of that. I started going to the gym. And it's been fun. I mean, because I think to your point of like, yes, I could have mourned who I was, but do something about it now.
Yeah.
And truly, I think what it was like coming from I definitely got like depression because of COVID.
Yeah.
Just in the situation that I was in with my family, everyone got it at one point. I thought I was going to be an orphan.
Yeah.
Like to think about being an orphan as an adult was like a mind fuck.
Yeah.
In so many ways. And then, you know, my father being the only source of income. And then I was like, fuck, I feel like I have to maintain a job just in case. It was a lot to handle. And I think I also became more conscious about my anxiety. So that coupled with my mortality, because what you're saying of the whole like feeling good one day and the next day it could all just go fucking away. That's our mortality.
That's our mortality.
And again, I feel like because of where I come from and, being from South Central and just being queer and just how I moved about the world, I had to build an indestructible mindset.
Yeah.
And so then to mourn the fact that my mind and my body need to catch up or they need to have another conversation because it's just not the same body. Nothing wrong with it. And now it's cool to go back to the gym in the sense of like, because it's not for body image issues. Like I'm so comfortable in my body. So it's just nice to know that I'm going back for my health and for what I, to be around. And also my fucking nephew, I'm like, damn, bitch, I gotta be around for this fool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, that's why it's interesting that I feel comfortable dying at 71.
Yes, that's.
I mean, I don't know.
That's
I mean, not like that age, knock on wood. But I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I probably already lost my parents and went through that mourning process and I feel healed enough. My sister's 5 years younger than I am, so she's good. My younger siblings are all gonna feel good. But I feel like it's just everyone in my life that I care about will be fine at that age. Like even my nephew Jacob, he'd be like maybe, I don't know, in his 50s.
Yeah.
Pero I'm like, yo, ¿para qué quiero vivir ya? Ya están
Ya
todos
están
adultos.
ya están viejos.
Ya están viejos, ya se pueden limpiar la nalga todos. Unless all of a sudden my siblings start having children. Oh, fuck.
You gotta take care of them.
Yeah. But you know what? Talking about the gym, if it's okay, I would love to share our favorite segment called
¿Sabías que?
I will. ¿Sabías que there is a difference between your real age and your biological age? Yes, girl. So your biological age refers to the damage, the accumulation of damage that you have enacted on your body. O sea, it's the molecular structures y básicamente te jodiste. That's what a biological age is. And you would ask yourself, what determines a biological age? Pues amiga, el vicio. El vicio, ya sean los hombres, las drogas, el alcohol, or smoking. But usually it's about the habits, the health habits that we accumulate over time. So, is your real age and your biological age the same? Or are you older biologically than you think you are? Guilty.
Porque tomaste demasiadas chelas.
I drink way too much.
I was like, I know.
You're like triggered.
For real, because I that's why I was like, oh my God, that's me. It's the alcohol, check, fuck. Smoking, damn, since I was 15. So I was like, fuck, I'm fucked.
Pero ¿sabes qué? Mi abuelito fumó toda su vida hasta los...
I'm like, don't promote that.
There's one case.
No, pero él empezó a fumar a sus 20 años y dejó de fumar a los 60 once he learned how bad it was, and then he never smoked again, and then he lived till his mid-90s.
Oh, shit.
And so just remembering, yes, pues hemos, especially when we're younger, we've had different habits, but it's not too late to change our habits if our, depending on what our goals are for the quality of our life.
And it's funny because going back to what you said, and I'm curious, I'm going to transition. That's how yes inspired the question of like life changes and habits. But when I got sick, when I had strep throat, so folks don't know this, but I had strep throat like twice in my life, and it all happened in the year, and I've never had it before.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what was going on. But this last time that I had it was really, really bad, and I went through like so many emotions and anger, and I mean it was a lot that I hadn't eaten for 4 days, so there was just this trauma associated with eating.
Yeah.
Like portion sizes are huge here now. I'm learning that after living abroad. And it was just like flavors, the taste of alcohol, or the thought of it. Like I couldn't smoke. I didn't smoke for a whole month until after I was the strep throat. And even now, I feel like I've done a lot of harm reduction. Like I don't smoke as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Esta voz es por la cruda, amiga. Por eso. But are there any life changes?
I'm drinking more water.
Good. But are there any changes that you're noticing, even as the stretching or the getting hurt, the water, the skincare?
I feel like I do need to stretch too, because if I go to the gym and I'm running late and I just go straight into it, I'm sore for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck. But then the sauna does kind of help release the muscles. But I mean, I'm trying not to drink as much. What else gets released?
You thought about it, amiga. You thought about it. Right.
We release a lot of things in the steam room.
I feel like ahí en casita the viewers are like, se sabe.
Yo la he visto ahí. But yeah, just drinking more water. I feel like I'm trying to eat healthier and trying to cook more meals and calling my mom every time I need to like figure out a new recipe. And just being more mindful of that. And trying to drink less, but it's so hard. I feel like anytime I go out, it's like un tequilita, un mezcal, and it's so hard to not drink. But I feel like alcohol is good for you sometimes. You know what I mean?
And you know what? Sorry to interject really quickly, but I also feel like sober culture is like, I think we are definitely in a place where our generation respects sobriety.
Yeah, that's
100%.
Yeah, no.
Like everyone wants to go on a cleanse.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know if you remember this, but like back in the day, I feel like if you were to go to a bar and you would just say like, oh, I'm not getting a drink, people would kind of like look at you funny, ¿verdad?
I mean, and now bars have like mocktails.
Like a mocktail,
Yeah, and like I feel like people don't have the same reaction to people not drinking.
At least my perception.
Yeah.
Right, try to get like a drink that sounds a little healthy, que tenga jengibre, like it's green.
Yeah.
Ginger ale is
green
not
juice with
the
a shot of
same.
tequila.
I'm like, ginger ale is not the same as ginger.
No, but like when it tastes like ginger.
No, I know.
Oh,
Just giving you shit.
But, okay.
So I'm curious.
Espérate, what are you changing?
Well, I think something I changed a few years ago. I mean, my dad, unfortunately, like he died because of like diabetes complications. And so like that kind of like was a thing that como que, entonces para mí como que yo lo vi sufrir mucho. Entonces como que eso, like it did make me make some changes, like, and but I think I also kind of went a little bit like extreme, you know, where I was like trying to do all the like super healthy things. I think to the point that it also like was too rigid. And so I think I've made, you know, changes and like I listen to my body. Yeah. So like I feel like the body, you know, we've been talking about this a lot, but like the body has a lot of wisdom if we really like give it that moment to really tell you what it wants and what it needs. And so I'm listening to that. I'm trusting that. You know, I've made some changes, but I'm also like, no tienes que ser tan rígida. Like, listen to your body, it knows, but also don't be so rigid that you're not enjoying your life, you know? So that's where I'm at. It's like I've made changes that I think are healthy changes that I'm trying to honor. But I think when you go too extreme, you're like, okay, I'm trying to work out this many times y solo comer esto, like that's also not good for your health when you're so overly thinking about something, because that's, you know, that's stress, there's like shame, there's guilt, and that's also not good for your health. Yeah.
That's fair.
Like it's good to have a routine, but there's flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. Porque también el punto de esta vida es disfrutarla, ¿verdad? So, you know.
But one thing that I struggled with when I was younger, years ago, sorry. I had a hard time. I had a hard time saying no. Like I have so much FOMO all the time, so I wanted to go out all the time, do everything. And I feel like now, if I'm tired, I'm just like staying in that, like listening to my body, staying in, descansando, and then I'll go out next time.
Finally discovering boundaries.
That comes with age. I used to have no boundaries, and now I have boundaries.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about actually being like, you know, old, right? Like, do you guys want to get
old?
O sea, de la tercera edad. O sea,
you sound like my little primos. You're not me.
No, I mean like 60 plus, for example, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like so I'm like, do you guys want to be? How do you feel about actually?
Entonces, ¿cuál estamos en la, perdón, en la
segunda edad? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the things are. The trend.
I heard like 35.
But tercera edad they use for...
la segunda.
Oh,
sorry.
No, I feel like because I mean, my parents got married young and they had kids young, so I felt like I feel like growing up when they were like in their late 20s, their early 30s, it felt so old.
Yeah.
Just because they already had kids, a house, like, I don't know, like more of like a whole family setup. And now I'm like, wait, you guys were 25 with 2 kids and a house?
Crazy.
Like, that sounds crazy. Like, I don't even know who I am.
That's not the millennial life.
You know what I mean?
We can't afford it anymore.
Yeah, and I'm like,
we'll talk about that in another episode.
That's true. We can't afford it. But you need to like live your life. And I feel like now that I have cousins getting married super young, I'm like, no, girl, disfruta la vida. Like, you can get married when you're a little older. And like, I feel like our parents set like this weird like expectation that everything felt so old. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, 60? That seems like I'm going to be like, ahí caminando, no poder caminando, like losing my breath. But now that my parents are in their early 50s, I'm like, oh no, like I feel like I do want to get to like 60, 70. Yeah. I don't know about 80, 90. I feel like si estoy batallando, girl, I'm like, I'm out.
Can you believe we had a president and a presidential candidate that were close to 80 or over 80? That's wild.
It's crazy to me, yeah.
Anyway, entonces, so imagine, I want to know, what does like an ideal life at 60 look like for y'all? Like, ¿qué están haciendo? ¿Con quién están? What
I
do
want
you
to be in my
look
rancho with
like?
my man.
Like, do you have a
Con mis
husband?
caballitos.
Do you have a husband?
I mean, I hope. I do.
Would you like to have a
I
husband?
need to start now. So if you're single,
So would you like? So you
You're
would like
20.
To have,
Fuck you.
I'm 28.
so you would like to have a rancho? A rancho?
Yeah, I'd love to be like in my parents' pueblito, in mi rancho with my man.
Okay.
Ideally, kids. I don't know. I don't know yet. I always said I wanted kids when I was younger. Now that I'm
Yeah.
like gonna be 30-ish soon, I'm like, I don't know if I really. My sister could have the kids, and I'll just like be the cool uncle. You know what I mean? The uncle.
It's crazy the transition from like just assuming you're gonna have children to now in this age. It just feels like so hard that you're like, if you didn't already have kids, like you're kind of like, damn, like I did kind of want them, but I'm like, damn, it feels like so fucking. The older you get, if not only age, but also like the cost of living and shit, it's like, damn, like how am I gonna actually do this? Like it
Mantener
just
unos
feels.
chiquillos, like.
Part of me still wants them, but I'm like, is being like a tia, is a tia enough? Like maybe. I mean, they look just like my brother, and we both look alike. So I'm like, they kind of look like me.
Te los robas.
I'm like, can I keep one?
Producer,
Can I keep one?
el productor, that's a whole ass episode. Write it down, children.
Write it down.
No, because I feel
Yeah,
like
children, for sure.
I have a lot of friends. Yeah. Well, we can go talk
And I'm
to
just
children.
like, I don't know, like, will I regret it later? I might. I do this. You know what? I'm open to however it looks. So if anyone wants to co-parent, I'm open to a gay dad to like.
Oh, no.
You're like, don't look at me.
We all live in the same
Don't look at me.
house. 3 kids.
Producers are married and want kids.
Hey,
Oh my God. And you got eggs.
Are we the padrinos?
Yo
Can we
tengo,
be
yo
the
tengo
padrinos?
huevitos salvados, güey. We could work
You're
something
freezing
out.
your eggs?
I have some.
What?
I have some.
Oh, sorry. I didn't.
No, it's fine. No, I've talked about it on
That should be something we talk.
Yeah.
We should have a children
yo
episode.
tengo huevitos ahorrados.
Yo tengo huevitos.
Espérense. Sorry. I'm like, that's a children episode. Y'all are giving
Okay,
the good
okay,
content.
we have to keep talking about
Wait,
it.
where do you want to be at 60?
Where do I want to be at 60? Yeah, I think kind of similar to you. We have this romantic like vision of being in Mexico, ¿verdad? Como una bruja like lifestyle. Like, yeah, maybe more than like a partner, maybe more than one. I don't know. We have probably have kids, like a little pretty out like patio, like animales. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
with
not sure.
borreguitos running around.
Yeah, no sé. I don't know. I'm still working on this vision. I want to think about it though. Even though I asked the question. ¿Y tú, Nalgona? Oh. Interrupción.
No, pues chingo mi madre.
Paletas.
Ya llegaron las
Ya
paletas.
llegaron.
Borracho, pero llegué.
Habla borracho en producer.
Hi, guys.
Sí, pregunta con
Esta
quién
amiga.
salí.
¿Qué tienes para nosotros?
Bueno, aquí tengo paletitas. Oiga, piña,
You
¿Quién
have
quiere
my
piña?
fresa
Piña para la niña.
con-
Ey, no me gusta la piña.
fresa.
I'll take fresa.
de crema.
No, ya no hay de
Y no hay
crema.
de
No le
crema.
grites.
And this is mango, I think.
Okay, I'll take mango.
No quiero.
Oh, no
¿No
quiere. Oh.
¿You want a paleta?
Turn down a paleta. ¿Qué tipo de
In
paleta?
the contract,
¿Qué
it says
tipo
we
de
have to eat a
paletera
paleta.
es? No sé, no
The
leí.
contract says we have to eat a paleta
Every
Your contract.
3
episode.
paletas per episode.
Por contrato me estoy comiendo una paleta. So, productor, we've been talking about aging this episode, so I'm curious. I'm curious to know, what does it feel like to be in your mid-40s?
Him or you?
Güey, ya estaba bien.
La segunda edad, ahora sí.
Well, I just turned 30. If you can clearly see.
A little baby skin.
Güey, va bien.
don't age
I'm in
shame.
my older twink era. No.
That's another thing. Oh, that's
Well,
that's another
yeah,
topic.
that
That's
kind
another
of,
episode.
that's probably a
Am I
different
too old for a
episode.
sugar daddy?
Oh my God.
Am I the sugar daddy?
You're
I
you're
know
The way
entering
that
into
we
Sugar-
that.
rolled our
sugar-
eyes at Cesar on this episode, I knew it
love
was
it.
coming. I knew it was coming.
Oh, sorry.
It's great. We need all the perspectives.
No, I think coming into into my 30s, I'm like, oh, like you got to slow it down a bit now. Like, I think I out-partied myself up to the point where I'm like, oh, it doesn't feel as easy as like it used to be, you know? So now I'm just kind of like learning to settle down,
How long are your crudas now?
like a day and a half to 2 days. Yeah.
Damn.
Till I normalize.
See, that's why I don't have them anymore. It's so rare because
Yeah.
I just like I can't
just
I can't stand
normalize
it.
after 2 days. Yeah. and I'm
Damn.
That's why I go out on Friday so I can have Saturday and Sunday to recover.
and you're good on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Or I
Maybe.
don't schedule meetings in the morning on Monday.
But I think that I don't know how it is for like other folks, but for myself and like I think most gay males, cis males, we have that like I'm never getting old type of phase where you think like, you know, you can keep going and gay male culture, you're always fucking partying till
Yeah, like you see a
4
lot of
a.m., 6 a.m.
like a lot of older men.
Yeah,
Like in
so
the
you
bars.
That's it in insecurity, but
Yeah.
that's another episode.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of catching up. And I mean, now I'm married, so I gotta slow down.
No es porque quiera.
No porque quiera, porque me
¿Qué
mandan.
pasa el marido?
¿Qué pasa?
¿No lo dejas salir? ¿No lo dejas salir o qué?
Es
Quitan el
celoso.
anymore.
He's a little tóxico.
Es lo toca. I knew
Es
it.
celoso.
No
Es
te dejas
celoso.
salir. Tú sal, amiga.
No
Tú
deja,
sale
que,
con nosotros.
no deja que lo vean en la calle. Se enoja. That's my man. I saw it in person.
La encierran en la noche.
No, that's real. But so thank you for sharing with us.
Of course. Cheers.
Gracias,
Chin,
productora.
chin. Gracias.
Nalgona, okay, so I want to come back to this because I really do want to hear if you have a little vision of what Nalgona at 60 looks like. If you've ever thought about that, maybe you haven't. Maybe this is
Más
a little,
Nalgona.
I want
Huevo. BBL, buchona.
buchona, buchona for life.
Me fui a Colombia para que me pongan alga. It's a very valid question. I think I sit with like one growing up not having any queer adult role models. I never thought I'd make it to 30. And so just, you know, the things that I've lived and the experiences that I've been through and where you know, where I come from, it's just not the expectation. I mean, at a young age for sure, of like not knowing what queer adulthood would even be. So I think very similar for that reason. Like, what does queer eldership look like?
Yeah.
I think it's very valid. You know, I don't know if I'd be married. I don't think about marriage. I don't want to marriage right now. But I mean, I do think about sometime during the pandemic, I was dating someone who I was like, bitch, if the world ends, I'd marry you.
Yeah.
Just because in that moment we worked and it was a beautiful relationship. And then the world didn't end, so then I was awkwardly realized I kind of proposed to someone, not really. But
Divorced.
Kind of, right, exactly. Divorcing me haberme casado, güey.
Yeah.
I say all that to say that I think about, in that moment, I did think about what it meant to be alone. And so I wonder if at 60, if I do have a partner down, homie has to have like a separate room maybe. Just because I do like my boundaries and I'm like, it has to be a California king bed. So you have one side of the room and I'll have the other side of the bed.
Yeah.
Like, I do like my space. It definitely would be open, but don't fuck in the house. Like, we'll be nesting partners down and like just have to have someone to be like, porque bitch, o sea, like when I got sick over strep throat, it was like I was by myself. I mean, not that I didn't have support or community, but it was just that moment of like, and this is something I can manage and on my own, but just that process of healing was wild. I think I want a little casita.
Yeah.
I think about living in somewhere a little bit more foresty. I do really enjoy forests or trees or parks or something like that nature. I'm not a beach person, so I can't do that. But I do enjoy like little forest, mountainy.
Yeah.
Low key, living here, I sometimes think about like Claremont. Just because it's far enough from LA that I could be away from my family. We still all stay here.
Yeah.
Tobemos, because we're getting displaced by everybody.
I know.
But if that were the case, I'd live somewhere there. And you know what? I feel like I'd probably still be performing. I'd have an Emmy by then, an Oscar too, maybe, because she's talented. If I go down that path, as an urban planner, I think I'd probably retire and teach at a university. That'd be fun, like a little side gig, or maybe just do consulting. Because
You'd be such a fun professor.
You
no, you know, and the funny thing is that I have been twice.
La profesora.
Sí, la hora.
New word. Profe, zorra.
Me dijeron zorra.
Profesora. I love that.
No, but I think about in my dream situation, my dream job, and it's funny because I think when you first asked the question, it wasn't even about partner or anything like that. It was like, what do I want my job and work to look like? And then
Yeah.
that informed everything else. But I think in my dream job, I would love to be like a consultant for like urban planning, because then I can book shit for like 7 months and then
Yeah.
go off and do art projects. You know, to live both careers would be great.
Yeah.
We're on season 30 of Las Paleteras.
For real. En la 30 temporada.
Las, las derretidas, I can't.
Después de age.
With our chiquillos running around. And I'm
For real.
kidding.
No, that's cute. Bueno, los míos no, pero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want children.
You don't want children, you know, for sure.
It just becomes very clear.
Clear.
Yeah, no.
That's really beautiful, though, to be content in that. Yeah, but we'll get to talk about that more. Yeah.
So stay tuned in.
But you know what's so funny? I don't know. This happens to you all. I feel like it's a little unscripted question, so my bad. But there's always this fear about queer people aging because we'll end up alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard this come up also a lot, specifically for trans women.
Yeah.
You know, it's very hard in many cases, many stories that I've heard, for trans women to find love, and just because of the transphobia and all the other isms that come along with that. And I wonder sometimes in going down that road, my mom told my siblings once that when I got older, they needed to take care of me. I was like, why? And I was like, this bitch really thinks I'm gonna end up alone? Or maybe it might be a fear, so I don't know if in any way, have you ever felt there's been this reception about how you'll age for being queer? Not in the Latino community or that, right? But just for being a queer person. Like, have you ever received any comments or have different perceptions about what our aging process looks like?
Yeah, I think that, I think my mom, I don't know if but my mom really wants me to have a partner. And she really worries about me, like, not having a partner. And then my dad, when I first, my mom told him that I was queer. And then we had a car ride. I think you also had a car ride.
Everything happens in the car.
Ride. And it was just me and my dad, which was like not normal for me and just me and my dad to be in the car. And he was like, Chelly, my nickname's Chelly. And he was like, yeah, Chelly. And he was like, Chelly, like, I heard something about you. I heard something about you, and I just want you to know that, like, I that it's fine, that I don't have a problem with it, and the only thing, and this is maybe why part of me still kind of wants to have kids, even though I feel like I'm getting older. I'm like, have a smaller and smaller gap. But he was like, yeah, I think that's fine. I just really hope that you have kids. And it was just so interesting. I was like, of all things that he's really concerned about as me as a queer person, he really wanted me to have kids. And I was like, that's so, no sé, se me hizo como interesante. Like, I wonder why that's the thing that's sticking out for him.
Oh, shout out to your dad. Sorry, I don't know what I'm crying about.
Yeah, no.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
really beautiful.
Yeah. And so como que me quedé eso poquito presente. And maybe that's why part of me is like, I don't know, but there's like a part of me that still wants to.
I'm still triggered from the grief episode. That's what
I'm literally, my eyes are like...
no, that's
so
beautiful.
that's like something that's, I guess, kind of related to your question. Yeah.
That's so cute.
Nate, what was your dad's name? What's your dad's name?
Jose.
That's my dad's name.
Yeah, Jose. Jose le llaman Pepe. Yeah.
Sí, Pepe.
That's my brother's name too.
Yeah, that's a funny little story. I'm just gonna say briefly, but living in Mexico, girl, I didn't know that the nickname for Jose was Pepe.
You didn't know this, even though your name is Jose?
Yeah, my name is Jose Richard.
No one ever called you Pepe?
No one ever called me Pepe.
Pepito.
No, for real. So I had a little situationship in Mexico. Introduced me to other people as Pepe, and I was like,
you're like, what the fuck? You're like, that's
right.
not my name.
And they were like, did you not know? And I was like, no. And they were like, okay, your new nickname is Pepita. Pero si te portas mal la Pepa. And I was like, oh, I love it. So low-key, I've been trying and I haven't done it. I almost did it yesterday, but...
To introduce yourself as Pepe?
Yeah, but the homie was like, oh, this is Richard. I was like, damn it, bitch. But I do want to start introducing myself as Pepita. I think that'd be fun. It's cute. A new character unlocked,
I like that.
Now I'm going to close out. Y yo, Pepita.
That's cute.
Sorry. But.
Yeah, my brother, we used to call him when he was little, we called him Pepin.
Oh, that's cute.
And then
Because
he was little, and then he became Pepe. He evolved. The only thing about being,
And then I was gonna say
but the
something else.
only
but-
problem with being called Pepin in the U.S. is that people started calling him
Pepin?
Pee-Pee.
Oh,
Pee-Pee.
No, but there's also those jokes.
Pepito.
Yeah, the Pepito jokes.
Pepito
Yeah,
jokes.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, Pepito jokes.
Oh, so
Oh,
what
that's
am I
beautiful.
gonna be
You
a
had that
joke,
conversation
Pepita?
with your dad. I'm still thinking about the conversation with your dad. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
No,
Yeah.
and then I started thinking about your brother going from Pepin to Pepe and me like, oh my God. I'm sorry.
But I feel like with
yeah.
I feel like in Mexican culture, everyone has so many kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because like my grandma had like 14 kids, my great grandma had like 18 kids. So I feel like
Yeah.
they think of like families like I mean family is everything, but like, I
Yeah.
feel like no te quedes solo, but it's like you're not
Yeah.
alone. It's just like a different mindset,
Yeah.
and different
trabajar la
time.
milpa, güey.
Dude, I was like, abuelita, ¿cómo le van a comer a todos? Like siempre había frijoles, caldo, like carne, and I'm like, but they all
You
You had
worked.
to work the
yeah.
land,
Yeah,
man.
they had to work the land.
Like they all
Yeah.
had to work.
My grandmother had 12 kids. 2 of them passed away, and like right now, one of them passed away when they were 15. I think the other one was like months old. And I try to remind my family that like, no, steal our tia, like bring her into the space. Like, how dare you forget my tia? And my mom is like, I mean, we just never talk about her. I was
Yeah.
like, exactly.
Pero I guess continuing with the theme of family, like how have you guys been like thinking about, your family? I mean, it's not just us aging, it's everything around us aging, right? It's our family, it's the fucking earth aging, and us like we're literally accelerating the aging process of earth with the things that we do, right?
Like, I can't wrap
how
my
do
head
you-
around how fast everything is going. But I think I talked about this briefly in another
Yeah, you did.
episode too. But aging with like recently, I still have all my grandparents, knock on wood. But I've been seeing my parents take care of my grandparents, like my mom specifically taking care of my abuelita who has like dementia and like Alzheimer's, and like seeing her as like someone's daughter instead of like, oh, that's my mom and that's
Yeah.
my grandma. It's like, oh no, like that's someone's daughter. With my parents' revisiones, now I'm trying to like be more mindful of like, okay, ya llegó el año, I need my like little physical. But I mean, I'm also on prep. So every 3 months, she's getting tested or blood work. So I feel like I'm trying to keep up with like my health too, so that I'm healthy for when my parents get to that age as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big question
Mm-hmm.
and a scary question, I think. I mean,
And you still have both of your parents?
I do.
Okay.
And I mean, I think in the family episode, if you remember that episode, I mean, as I talked about the boundaries, I think
Yeah.
that I enjoy with my family, but I feel like similar to your point, Cesar, I have my grandmother, my mom's mom, she's my last living grandparent, even from like my biological and stepdad side, which is interesting, but they're all gone, but my grandmother. And so I've recorded stories from her. I have about 4 or 5 hours of recorded stories. And similar to your point of like realizing that there's gonna have to be a moment where I have to support my mother in her grieving process.
Mm-hmm.
And then having to prepare for that. And I don't know if I'm ready for the loss of a parent, whomever it is. And so I feel like I've been grieving them now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I can't. So this is really weird and morbid. It's my anxiety, y'all. But sometimes I just think about my mom being dead just so I can start crying it out. But I'm already emotional about it. And the scary part is then again going to back why I think I have a lot of, not me realizing that this podcast, I have to go back to therapy.
No, you really brought up a good point. So I'm like,
I mean, I not that I didn't go, but like I took a break. I'm gonna go back. Traumas always pop up, no? Pero to then realizing that I have to become the support system for my family, my siblings. And I'm like, I think that's the part that it's also scary.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's my mom who passes, I'm not ready for that moment just yet. And I think that's why sometimes I avoid even knowing because I'm like, I don't need to know. Like, are you good? Like, let me know. But probably I should ask more. So thank you for sharing what you shared. But I think I'm being avoidant of a lot of things. Just because my heart.
Yeah. No, y la verdad es que, like having lost my dad, me queda muy, and all my grandparents at this point, me queda muy presente. Like my mom is so present for me, and there's so many changes that like I've made in terms of how we relate. And I think I've talked about in other episodes, but like, you know, sometimes it can help us to, you know, sort of be avoidant with our heart. But like, I think what I realize is like, what, like, you know, like duele mucho perder someone, but like, it feels more beautiful when you know you've really loved them really hard. And so for me, I'm like, how can I, like, having lost so many people at this point, it's like I have an opportunity to love more deeply, and I hope I get so many more years with my mom. And luckily, my mom is, you know, older at this point, but she's healthy, and I do get kind of scared, like, ay, no sé, it can happen anytime, because I lost my dad, like, se fue suddenly, he had a heart attack, and he didn't get another chance, you know, se fue así, you know, and sometimes it's like easier. Sometimes it's easier though. Like I think for, like we always say, my dad, like, se fue de una manera, like I feel like he would have liked that. Like that's, you know, like he se fue así, ¿verdad? And it was easier, right? And todo tiene sus. Yeah. But for me, it's like, how can I love my mom more deeply? How can I, como, just treasure every moment? And I think what's helped me the most, and I talked about this in the grief episode, or I don't even know if I got to talk about this, but what really helped me most, like has helped me grieve my dad or like be okay, is having beautiful memories that we got to share. Mm-hmm. And that's giving me, so that's what's given me solace. And so I think
don't take this as condescending at all, but I have a deep respect for you and what you shared over the episodes that we filmed together, and a newfound love for you.
Oh.
And yeah. I don't know why I'm emotional this episode. I think it's because I'm hurt. Low key, I think that's what it is. Like, funny enough, I did fall on my ass and it's bruised. I'm okay. but I think even the fact that I'm hurt, you know, brings up so many emotions. The body.
Yeah, the body.
The body knows the trauma that it houses and the medicine that I need to. Probably I needed to cry, but I didn't want to sound condescending.
No. Entonces, I do get a little scared about, like, ay, mi mamá le podía pasar algo en cualquier momento, but I don't want to be stuck in that fear, right? So how can I focus on just being really present with her, like creating new memories together? And also, the last thing I'll say about this is we get to be extra kind to our parents, because my mom is at the age now where she's, you know, I see her like slowing down un poquito, like struggles a little bit with technology, and just like getting to be really remembering. I think like if she can't do things as fast, like it's okay. Like our parents were so patient with us when we were little, like we get to return that favor to them. And the last thing I'll say is, like, I'm sort of preparing myself for like potentially helping take care of her. So I'm like, what are all the things I can handle? How can I have things in orden so that I'm prepared for that possibility, right? I want to feel really comfortable with what was going on in my life so that I am prepared for that possibility in the future. Yeah.
I have a younger sister and she's a nurse.
Yeah.
So I feel like she's back home with my parents, and it gives me so much peace knowing that she's with them, because my mom has had a few health scares over the years, and I feel like I'm that kind of person that like kind of blacks out, and like you, like I don't want to think about it, and like to me, like it's not happening. So having her there, I'm like, okay, like hay alguien que sí puede cuidarlos and like stay on top of them. So it gives me peace, but I also want to be prepared for like, okay, what is that situation? Like, how are we going to handle that when we're like living across the country?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Health scares, like I like literally like dissociate.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to like face reality.
Yeah, I feel that. Y'all, so in preparing for this episode, I was looking up different articles related to aging, Yessi, and one of them was like the 7 keys to like living longer and like a better quality of life. And you know, like you can probably guess some of them, like eat fruits and vegetables, move your body. But 2 of the ones that I thought were really interesting, one was just having like a more positive mindset about aging. Y el otro que era, prioritizing your relationships, which I think that makes sense too. Yeah. But those were like ones that really stuck out to me that were really sweet. Like, yeah, that makes sense. And a study of 660 people published in 2002 showed that those with positive beliefs around getting older lived 7.5 years longer than those who felt negatively about it.
That much of a
Which
difference?
I thought that was crazy. Like literally having a positive mindset about aging can help you live longer.
A lot can happen in 7.5 years.
Yeah, for real. So I thought that was super interesting. And so I'm like, I wanted to kind of close with this because, like again, aging, so many difficult things about aging, but it really is, how do we, not only can we live longer if we think more positively about aging, but because it just literally makes our life better in the present, right? And that's the best thing that we can do is like aceptar and embrace each moment of our lives. But how do you actually do that in practice? And I wanted to just share a few things that I read can help us feel more positive. Because like, okay, you're like, great. yes, I want to feel positive, but how do you actually do that, right? So number one, and feel free to comment and if any of these resonate to you. Number one is notice where your age beliefs come from. So I like this practice. It was try a week of age belief journaling. So noticing where your sources of like las ideas that you have about aging are coming from, just to start noticing like when you have these negative thoughts around it and just observing that can help you start to change how you think. Number two, I love this, find aging role models. So if you associate aging with only loss or limitation, you're not getting the full experience of the beauty of what aging can be. So can we think about people that we really admire that are really doing amazing things in their 60s and their 70s, even their 80s? I don't know. Can y'all think of somebody that you just really, that's older and you just really love, like the way that they live their life? And you're like, yeah, I would love to live like that. Can y'all think of somebody? Do you have somebody?
My grandparents.
Your grandparents.
They're in my mind.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
A la próxima, amiga. Follow us on Patreon for that episode.
Another one is don't mistake forced positivity for optimism. So look at honest reality with optimism. I can't do this. So then an example is like, I can't do this, but I can still do this, right?
So like we talked about.
Yeah. So for me, con mi pie, right? Like I can't play tennis right now, which I fucking love tennis, but what can I still do? How can I still move my body? There's still ways, you know?
Like with my nalga. So like,
Like with tennis.
so like with
So
my
with your
nalga,
nalga.
I can't bottom, so I'm topping this week.
Exacto. I love this application. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the mindset we need.
I'm a blouse bitch, a femme top.
Is to challenge your fears about getting older. So like, what is actually true? So for me, I'll share a fear, and we're actually gonna have an episode about this, but like something that really was terrifying me recently is a fear around my financial like picture. I'm like, oh fuck. Like in a few years, well, like I'm gonna be 40 or whatever, and like, I don't have this much money, like I don't have this, my retirement, like all these things that like literally like a year before I had felt fucking fine. And then llegó un momento, you're like, así como que sentí like a gasp, and I was like, oh my God, I need to freaking do all these things. I need to be more strategic. And all of a sudden, and then, so I ended up going to a really scary place around what my actual financial picture was, which wasn't actually accurate. Like it really wasn't that bad, but because I didn't feel on top of it, I thought I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be 60, voy a estar en la calle. Así no sé por qué, why I went there. And that's like what that practice is here. It's like, what is actually true? It's like, okay, yes, I can make strategic changes right now so that like, if I do get to this age, like I will have enough retirement, but I'm not going to be on the streets. Like I have so much time between now and then. Right? So like just being real about what is actually true, you know, like not thinking we're about to be on the streets when we still have so much time, you know.
Come to my house.
And then lastly, like don't dismiss the benefits of aging. And we talked a little bit about que nos da alegría, right? Like a lot of times we've learned how to be more resilient, like how to work through shit, right? Because we've had to do it over and over again, right? We have, usually you're more connected to ourselves. So like our emotional well-being is better because we've learned how to build the tools for that if we've done the work, right? Si no nos quedamos niños, right? So there's a beautiful quote that I want to I just want to end with this, but, so if you had it's from a doctor, from one of the studies, but if you had to pick one healthy practice for longevity, do some version of physical activity. But if you can't do that, then focus on being positive. And I thought that was really like a great way to think about it. Like, you know, like that actually, yeah, like just the way that we think about something actually has such a big impact on how we live. Wow. So that feels like what's kind of staying with me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bueno, ya después de tanto llorar, de tanto reflexionar de la vida.
We're calling our parents right after.
Yeah, I'm going to text my mom right after, y'all. Pobrecita, she texted me this morning and I didn't really text her back, so I should do that. I mean, it's a short answer, but, you know, I should text her back.
Well, thank you, Paletitas, for joining us on another episode. I'm César Camacho.
Yo soy Pepita.
Yo soy Ana Sheila.
Y recuerden, la vida es más sabrosa con nosotras porque somos las Paleteras.
Hi, Paletitas. This podcast is produced by Joel and Elpidio Perez, along with your hosts. Las Paleteras is edited by Augusto Martinez, with music by Cintia Morado and Ingrid Guijarro. Special thanks to our friends at Mitu and Sonoro for production support.